Deconverted Man here. You thought I was going to yell it really loud, didn't you? But I surprised you by not doing that. Let me fix the camera here. Okay. Well, Arguments Against Atheism, Episode 1, made by JimBob. It's only 6 minutes and 32 minutes, 36 minutes and 32 minutes long? No, 32 seconds long. I can't read, apparently. Part 1. Because he's got like 3 parts. So I guess this will be an ongoing series. I've revealed my face plenty of times. What are you talking about? Even my avatar's my face. Somebody in chat is like, yeah, face revealed. No, I've done my face before. Look. See, look, hey, say, me, say. Okay. Anyways, all right, so Arguments Against Atheism, Episode 1. I'm sure that this is going to have plenty of arguments against atheism. Before I start, what do you mean by atheism? Because atheism is not believing in God. So you have an argument against not believing in God? Another version of atheism is believing there is no God. So then you have evidence that there is a God, and therefore I should believe in God? I'm not sure. Well, we'll see what you've got. I'm sure it's going to have no logical fallacies at all.
In this first installment of Arguments Against Atheism, we explore a common position you may have heard from your atheist friends. We're like biological machines, and all of our actions and thoughts and everything are all just like determined by laws of physics and chemistry. I mean, this is basically common knowledge now. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a fatal argument against this position, and I do mean fatal.
So you actually don't mean atheism, you meant materialism. So you mislabeled your video deliberately in an effort to what? Clickbait and get views? Why do that? Why be dishonest from the get-go? If you want to argue against materialism, argue against materialism and call your video as such. You're being deliberately deceptive, and admitting to it doesn't bode well for me trusting your content moving forward. However, that first thing at the start there doesn't seem like an argument that anyone has actually made. Rather, it seems like a straw man. It is a construct straw man. That is, you have put together what you think an argument is, and then you're going to proceed to attack that argument. Now, if you had a video or an article that you were showing on screen and that you were responding to, then I couldn't make that sort of claim. But obviously, this is not an argument that anyone has made. See, this cartoon guy, you have him all super edgy and all this, and I guess that was done by, somebody that paid for it to be done, or maybe you did it yourself. I don't know, whatever. So, you're going to make them look bad, you're going to give them the origin of species and all this other, stuff in the background. Oh, look how edgy I am, ha ha ha. But why show your otherwise worthy opponent in such a poor light? What do you hope to gain by insulting the people that you're trying to convince are wrong? That just seems like another point against your ideas. If you have nothing but personal insults to offer, then you really truly don't have any argument against anything, do you? Why portray atheists in this way? Unless you're not really speaking to atheists, and in fact you aren't, you're speaking against naturalists, which this person isn't either. So why isn't this person portrayed as a materialist? I'm not sure what that would look like. But your attempted insult and slights against atheists and or materialists, again, doesn't bode well for your presentation and my trust in your conclusions.
In this video, I'm going to give you a fatal argument against this position, and I do mean fatal.
Fatal? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Welcome to Arguments Against Atheism, a series that aims to provide clear and simple arguments against common atheist positions. I'm JimBob, and I'm here to deliver the goods. First, I should clarify, not everyone who is an atheist believes that matter exists and only matter exists.
Well, I don't know, about what does or does. I only know what I know about. I can't say what the sum total of reality is. I can only say that as far as I'm aware, matter is a real phenomenon. And it seems that everything is made out of something. And that ultimately seems to be energy at some level. Whether that takes the form of strings or potentiality or something else, I have no idea. But yeah, you're right in saying that not all atheists agree with this position, making, again, this video not against atheists, which you aren't doing. You're doing a video against materialists. It's just really weird.
Nor does every atheist necessarily defend hard determinism. However, these are common positions taken by atheists. Well, atheism is just like the position that holds like there's no belief in a God. Like, what are you even talking about? Well, yes.
And you said many, but by what metric do you quantify many? Do you have some sort of poll that references how many atheists happen to hold to determinism? Or is this something that you're just saying because it sounds good? Let's see. Do you have any citations at all? Not a single citation. Not surprised. See? Look, 0 citations. Not a single one. Now, to be fair, I don't have any citations either, but I'm not making the claims. This guy is. And again, why are you depicting atheists in this way? I don't know. But yes, atheism is simply a non-belief in God, a lacking of belief in God, and that's it. So yes, what are you talking about, bro? Not that I would say bro, because he's not my bro. So I would say, what the bleep? Stop straw manning.
And many of you come to that position based on the assumption that physicality is all there is.
So many of us come to the conclusion of what exactly? That there isn't a God or that we don't believe in God based on physicality. What do you mean by that? How do you know that that's the case? Again, do you have anything that suggests that many of us have come to any conclusion based on anything? Or is this something that you're simply saying because it sounds good to say? It seems that this is true, so therefore I'm going to say it's true. Well, I could do the same thing. Let's paint with a broad brushstroke. All theists just believe in God for no real reason. They have absolutely no reasons at all. It's just a blind, ignorant faith. Quite a broad brushstroke to paint with, isn't it? Let's not do that, shall we?
You come to that position based on the assumption that physicality is all there is. So let's examine the assumption. According to the view that we are all merely biological machines, our actions, our thoughts, and our words are all determined by the laws of physics and chemistry. Let's say it in a much more direct way. Everything we think, everything we say, everything we do are all effects determined by physics and chemistry. Okay, well, let's take a look at some other effects of physics in the natural world. Let's take a tornado. This is an effect of a cause. Let's call it a combination of natural conditions. This is a blade of grass growing. Another effect of a cause, also a combination of natural conditions. These are two occurrences entirely determined by the laws of physics. Now, would it make sense to say one of these occurrences are more true or more false than the other? No, they just are. They're effects. We could say that a description of one or the other could be more accurate or less accurate. But as far as the effect goes, it is what it is. It's just an effect. It's not true or false because it's not propositional. It's an effect of physics. Make sense? Now, here's where we have a problem. If all of our thoughts and words and actions are caused by the laws of physics, then they too are effects of physics. That means our descriptions of tornadoes or blades of grass are also just effects, which are determined by the laws of physics and chemistry. Well, didn't we just establish that effects of physics are neither true or false? They just are. How can
What? No, seriously, huh? What do you mean they're not true or false? They just are. Like, There is a tornado. That is a true statement if there is indeed a tornado. This blade of grass is growing from the ground is a true. So you just want to pretend that it's not true or false, it's just there. And then use that pretend idea to then say that if we are just deterministic, that is neither true nor false, it's just there. There'd still be true statements to be made, even if we were pre-programmed to say them. This is moronic beyond comprehension. I don't even know what your argument is, and I don't think you know what it is either. It seems to be nothing but a word game. Let's pretend that it's not true or false. So which is it then? When you say, hey, there's a tornado, well, you're not saying something that's true or false. You're just saying something. Right, but is it real or not real? Which aligns with true or false, at least in my mind. It's just an effect of stuff that's going on. Okay, and if I am, or you are, or we all are, deterministic, then so what? That's the way it is. That might be how reality is. I don't know. You don't know. But you would need a demonstrable demonstration that it is not the case. Not just an argument that you think takes it apart, but a demonstration that it is not true. That's what is missing here. Arguments are fun. I like arguments, but they need to be valid and sound, and yours is neither.
Can an effect of physics be anything other than what it is, what it's determined to be by the law? If an evaluation or proposition is an effect of physics, how can it be wrong or right? It just is, like a blade of grass or a tornado. Now, my critics will say, no, Jim Bob, propositions are different because they are descriptions of effects, to which I would respond, well, those descriptions are just effects determined by the laws of physics, right? Yeah, but
And you really enjoy talking to yourself there, don't you, Bob? You know, when I talk to a different character off screen, I at least give them a funny voice or something, or they have no voice, right? Character that doesn't exist? Yeah, like that. That was funny. Or like this. Hey, how's it going? Whoa, okay there, buddy. What was that? I said, what's going on? Who are you? I'm Outright Light. Don't you remember me? Oh my God, it's Outright Light's back. What do you want? I'm here to talk about the thing in the video. No, I don't want to talk to you. Go away. I don't want to talk. No, you're really annoying. Anyways, so yeah, that's an example of something that would be mildly entertaining. Anyways, back to the video, I guess.
we can evaluate our descriptions and see if they comport with reality, to which I would respond. Are evaluations just effects determined by the laws of physics? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but we can test to see if our evaluations are accurate, to which I would respond. Isn't testing just another effect determined by physics and chemistry?
To which I would respond to myself, having made the argument myself. Hey, you, how's it going? I'm pretty good. How's it going? Do you have an argument against atheism? Absolutely not. I don't have an argument against atheism, but I do have an argument against materialism. Oh, yeah? Are you going to actually represent materialism in a coherent manner? Absolutely not. I'm not going to represent materialism in any coherent manner. Then I'm going to proceed to construct a straw man about what materialism actually is, so that I can deconstruct it by talking to myself. Oh, great. And you're going to do that by pretending that it's an atheist that happens to be a materialist, right? Absolutely. Sounds good. All right, let's do it. But a problem? Like, won't people point out the obvious flaws in the video? No, it'll be no problem at all. Barely an inconvenience. I stole that last part from that guy that does the pitch meetings. Yeah, I kept thinking about doing a pitch meeting about pitch meetings as a parody video. I wonder how many views that would get. Anyways.
So we have a determined effect of physics we call an evaluation, followed by another determined effect of physics we call a description, followed by another determined effect of physics called testing, which requires more effects, more effects, more effects, and on. Yeah, so what's the problem? Well, the problem is it's a vicious circle. And this is
I don't think you know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. This is not an accurate description of materialism. And if you're going to assert that this is a circular argument, you haven't done that correctly.
is where I gift you the fatal argument against this position. Premise 1. Effects of physics are neither more true or false than any other effects of physics.
Hold on. I got to think about this for a moment. The actual premise. He actually went to the trouble to make a syllogism. And this is going to be the first premise. Okay. Here we go. All right. So effects of physics are neither more true or false than other effects of physics. What? What does that mean? What have you actually said there? The effect of physics is a reality. True. It is a true thing that actually occurs. But it's not more true than another effect of reality. Duh, because it's just real. Substitute true with the word real. Let's see if that works. Effects of physics are neither more real or not real than other effects of physics. Yeah, it doesn't work anymore, does it? In fact, it didn't work in the beginning. I don't know what he's... I just don't... I don't comprehend this. So, is there a logical fallacy here? Well, let's see. Well, this is not a true statement. That is to say, saying this in this way is not correct. No one would say it this way. Well, he said it this way. No coherent human would say it in this way. Therefore, he can't be coherent. How is that for logic? Yeah, it's either true or it's false. It's real or it's not real. There's no in between. This is not madness. This is Sparta. Here, gravity. Oh, that's no more true than gravity, right? You know. Yeah, but it's not false because gravity is. It's either. You're trying to make another category of things like this. Is that what you're trying to do? This is okay. So this is just. It's not even a true premise. That's the fallacy. There isn't even a fallacy. It's just not true. I can't say what fallacy that is because it's not even a fallacy. It's just broken. It's just not a true statement. It's a fractal error. In no reality is this statement true. That's how broken of an of a statement it is. It's a premise that's incoherent. I guess you would say it's a bald assertion without any proof. That would be the closest I could come with a fallacy at any rate. But yeah, my God, I've never seen anything so insanely worded. Even Time Cube at least made some sort of sense. Oh my God. Okay, well, what's your second one?
Effects of physics are neither more true or false than any other effects of physics. Premise 2.
Okay, thoughts, evaluations, and propositions are effects of physics. Okay, all right.
Thoughts, evaluations, and propositions are effects of physics. Conclusion. Evaluations and propositions are not more true or false than other evaluations and propositions. They just are. You see the...
Well, I'll give credit. You structured it correctly, but it's not sound. It's valid in the sense that it's structured correctly. But the premise 1 isn't really true at all. And it would have to be argued for separately. Not only that, it'd have to be demonstrably demonstrated. And if it is the case that everything is as you said in this argument, then the argument itself would also fail, since the argument would also be in effect and be no more true than the opposite conclusion. Since everything is neither true nor false, then nothing is true and nothing is false. Congratulations, you've debunked reality at this point. That doesn't work. You see, the thing is, if you want to negate materialism, you're going to actually have to, I don't know, show that materialism isn't correct in some way, shape, or form. And one way to easily do that would just be to show or demonstrate that there isn't something that is material. That's all you would have to do. Then you've changed the paradigm. You've introduced a new concept that we didn't know about before. But all you've done here is play with words until you think that you've gotten to a conclusion that you desire, and you think that this insanely bulky paradox collapses in on itself. But this is kind of like arguing that logic doesn't work. If you were somehow successful in arguing that logic doesn't work, you lose, because now logic doesn't work. So you can't use logic to use that logic doesn't work. But on the other hand, you can use logic because logic doesn't work. So it doesn't matter that it doesn't work. And in fact, everything works, because why not? That's all you're doing. This doesn't debunk materialism, nor is it a fatal flaw against anything at all. I was really hoping you'd offer some positive proof of God or something in this video. After all, you did say this was about atheists, but it's not about atheists. It's actually about materialists. But actually, it's not even about materialism, because you don't even know what materialism is or says. Actually, it's not even about that. It's about you're playing word games so that you can set up what you think is a paradox that you think collapses the system upon itself, but it actually doesn't, because paradox, well, you would have to prove that the paradox is true and valid, but you can't do that if the paradox is actually true, because that would mean nothing was true, which also means nothing is false either. And in such a realm, then logic stops functioning, and therefore that realm can't be possible. Therefore, that realm can't be true. So it can't be true that materialism is false. No, it can't be true that your sentence is correct in the first place. I know. Weird, huh? How that all works. But basically, we take the first sentence that you said and we go, hey, does that work? No, it doesn't work. So we have to get rid of it. That's what we got to do. But, you know, whatever. I don't know anymore. Keep going.
The consequence of this position is fatal to knowledge itself. If any knowledge claim or belief is just an effect of physics, and what we call knowledge is dependent on truth or falsity of a claim, then knowledge is impossible, because evaluations and claims are just effects of physics, and effects are neither true or false. They just are. The position gets worse. If all of our thoughts, actions, and beliefs are effects determined by the laws of physics, then a Christian belief and an atheist belief and any other worldview is just an effect of physics. Saying a Christian has a false belief is equivalent to saying they have a false effect of physics. How can we believe anything other than which is strictly determined by the laws of physics? How can an effect of physics be false? Well, the atheist might say, well, some effects of physics can be true and some can be false. Okay, so if one effect of physics can be true or false, here's my challenge to the atheist who holds this position. What is the categorical difference between a tornado and thinking? Well, they might say, duh, a tornado isn't doing any evaluating. Well, let's try again. What is the difference between a tornado and evaluating? Well, like the difference is like complexity and stuff. Okay, let's look at the level of complexity. What is the difference between an extremely complex machine and a very simple machine, other than potentially more components executing a wider variety of functions? The complex and the simple are both at the effect of physical laws. And as far as we know, a computer doesn't do anything more than what it's programmed to do, regardless of its complexity. The computer doesn't suddenly transcend its category of being a machine simply because it's more complex. So why would the brain from this position? In conclusion, if all
Well, that's some wild analogies that you've pulled out of nowhere. Yeah, so those things are analogous at all. And if you're going to make an argument to or from analogy and not make the logical fallacy of an appeal to analogy, you're going to have to do a lot better than that. So I'm guessing you're saying that the sum total of the parts, in this case the brain or the computer, can't be more than the sum total of its parts, which just ignores emergence, which is a real phenomenon that we can observe. Emergence is what makes you and me us. See, if you take the brain apart, there's no more emergence there. It's only when it's assembled in the right way and it's fed all the stuff that it needs to be fed that emergence can happen. One way to think of emergence is traffic. Yeah, like, you know, when you're driving and there's a car in front of you, you have to slow down, and those cars are everybody's all gummed up. Why? Well, what happened was an emergence happened. Somebody slowed down just a little bit. And so the person behind them had to slow down just a little bit, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And that flows all the way back until everybody is moving extremely slow, until there is room enough for the people in front to go fast, at which point the next people can go fast, and so on and so forth. That emergent property cannot exist without the components, the cars, or the people if it was a traffic jam of just people. But regardless, in the same way, your consciousness doesn't emerge unless all the components are there to allow it to emerge. Emergence is a real property of the real universe. But you just seem to want to ignore that in favor of your disjointed and incoherent ideas about what materialism is or says. Can't trust it if we're just predetermined. Why not? Either you're going to have an idea that aligns with reality or you're not. If you build a computer in such a way that it doesn't function, it doesn't function. If you make a computer in such a way that it kind of functions, then it's going to kind of function. And so if you have a view of reality that doesn't align with actual reality, that might cause you to be killed by reality. But it might be a belief about reality that is benign and doesn't cause you to die. So if you can't hear or see or detect the lion, you're going to get eaten by the lion. However, if you can kind of see and kind of detect and kind of hear the lion, then you might not get eaten by the lion. So the effect, even using your bizarre, weird realm of stuff that you've come up with, the effect of the lion and the effect of the person still have a state where it's a real value that will really happen even if both are deterministic in nature. The lion will eat the person unless the person runs away, hides, or fights back, whatever. We'll just say run away to make it an easier scenario. That will happen. The human has no choice but to run because they're programmed to run. And the lion has no choice but try to eat the human because that's what the lion is programmed to do. But it is true that the human will run away. And it is true that the lion will try to eat them. Just because it is an effect doesn't change the reality of the situation. So you could still hold a belief in that situation that is predetermined. If you are predetermined to not believe that the lion is going to eat you, the lion will eat you. And then your genes will, that's it, you're done. Now, maybe you had kids before you were eaten, and so that belief persists for a while until everybody with those genes gets eaten. But you might have a belief that's somewhat benign. You might mistake a lion for a hippo. Now, hippos are pretty damn dangerous, and they can kill people and other creatures. They're really, really powerful beings. So your mistaken belief doesn't negate the fact that it will harm you, so you run away. The hippo is kind of slow and won't get you as easily as the lion, but nonetheless, it's also predetermined to defend its habitat and its area around it. Your mistaken belief is still wrong, even though it's predetermined to be wrong. And because it doesn't negate your survivability, that mistaken belief proceeds on in the genome to the next and the next and the next person till you have some moron living today that can't tell the difference between a lion and a hippo. Or in your case, can't tell the difference between logically incoherent and an actual argumentation. I ain't lying. I'm also not a hippo, so...
All thoughts, evaluations, and propositions are merely effects of physical laws and chemistry. How can a physical effect be false or true? There are no false tornadoes or blades of grass. So why would the naturalistic atheist believe that there are false beliefs?
Because there are false beliefs. Even if we're predetermined to think, feel, and act the way that we do. I don't know, maybe I am. Maybe it was always predetermined that I would put this lobster on my head. I have absolutely no idea. What would be great is if you could demonstrate that I'm not, in fact, predetermined to put that lobster on my head. Can you do that? Tell you what, I've got a challenge for you, MadeByJimbob, if you happen to watch this video, which I don't know that you will, and I doubt that you'll respond to it. Reading through some of your comments, you seem to think that you're right about stuff, so I doubt that you're going to be able to critically examine your own beliefs and challenge them and actually admit that you're wrong. But maybe I'm wrong about that, and I hope that I am wrong, and I hope that you do respond. But if you do, here's my challenge to you, Jim Bob. Let's see if he does it. You want to prove to me that free will exists, right? Because you don't want me to believe in determinism. Okay, very simple challenge. All right, you get yourself a plate. You know, you put something on that plate. I'm gonna say, normally I would say poo, because poo, people don't like to eat poo. But I'm wanting to make this challenge an actual doable challenge. So it seems unfair for me to say that you need to eat poo to prove that free will exists if I'm being legitimate. But it would be funny. Let's for a moment pretend that I'm going to challenge you to eat poo. Will you eat poo to prove that free will exists? You see, if you eat it, then you've done something that you didn't really want to do. And so I'm wrong. But I get to laugh because you ate shit. If I'm right, however, you won't eat shit. But that's not a realistic challenge because people don't eat poo. Come on, we're not going to eat poo. So how about this? A big old pile of horseradish sauce and wasabi poured on top with some salsa and hot sauce on it. Yeah, let's see you eat a big old plate of that, like this big of all that combined. All of it. Now, you might be able to do that, but I'm pretty sure it's going to cause some pain and suffering and going to cause some great laughs from me. But it will prove to me that you have free will. So, will you eat that giant plate of wasabi, horseradish, salsa, and hot sauce? Or not? I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see to find out. But if you do it, then you've proven to me, to my satisfaction, that free will exists. And if you will not do it, then I guess free will doesn't exist. Because why not? See, what I would love to have instead of just a silly challenge like that is an actual demonstrable demonstration of free will or not free will existing for real, which will require some, I don't know, neuroscience and some, I don't know, study of the brain and a bazillion citations and all sorts of stuff. But I'm sure that's settled science, right? What? It's not settled science, apparently. We have absolutely no idea whether we're deterministic or not. Oh. Some people think we are, though. But maybe it's both. What if we're both somewhat predeterministic and we also have some free will? That would be interesting. What would that mean? But whether we're predeterministic or not, how does that then negate materialism? Because you said it does? Because you think it's a paradox? What if it was a paradox? Well, paradoxes are impossible. But what if it's a true statement that seems like a paradox but isn't? I don't know. Anyways, this wasn't an argument against atheism at all, which you knew. But then you deliberately deceive us by saying that it is, even though you said it wasn't. And then you misrepresent atheists in a very bad way. Why are you doing that? I don't understand it. Are you actually trying to convert us or not? If you want me to believe what you're saying, you're going to need to prove what you're saying in some coherent manner. That's going to require citations if you're using a scientific methodology, which clearly you're not. If you want to go with a valid and sound argument, great. But then you're going to have to demonstrate that the argument is indeed sound. And you didn't. Your first premise makes no sense at all. Not even a little. It's just a game of semantics, and I'm not really interested in that. But if you are interested in a real discussion with an actual atheist, hey, I'm right here. I'll talk to you. But I won't let you strawman me. Well, I guess we'll see what you have to say in part 2 of Arguments Against Atheism. I'm sure that video will be way better than this one. Episode 1, Arguments Against Atheism, Problem of Evil. Episode 3. So you forgot to label episode 2, episode 2, it looks like. This is going to be fun. And by fun, I mean the opposite of fun. For me, at least. It might be fun for you. All right. So that's all for now. We didn't have any empirical evidence, repeatable tests. We had no model. We had no anything. What we did have was a non-sound argument. And because of all of those things, we're going to have to be skeptical of your conclusion there, Bob. Until next time, eat fit and die. Wait, no, that's not what I wanted to say at all. That's not how I wanted to end the stream. No, I wanted to end it seriously. No, don't push the button. No!